My sister married my fiance in my dress at my venue with my flowers, and exactly 11 months later, I burned his entire life down legally, quietly, and completely. Stay with me, because the revenge wasn't the satisfying part. What came after was. You need to know who Daniel is before you understand what I did. Daniel is the kind of man who researches how to seem trustworthy, reads the room, adjusts. He was a financial consultant, mid-level, ambitious, with a client list he guarded like it was oxygen. His reputation was everything to him, more than loyalty, more than love, more than me, clearly. My sister Dana is 2 years younger and has spent her whole life as the second version of everything I owned first. Same haircut 1 month after me, same career field, and apparently same taste in fiancés. And my mother is the woman who knew for 6 months that Daniel had developed feelings for Dana, facilitated the whole quiet swap, and decided her preferred outcome was worth more than my dignity. I didn't plan revenge the night I found out. I was too broken for that. The plan came later, when the grief dried out and something much colder moved in. Here's what most people don't know about being betrayed by someone you lived with for 4 years. You know things. You know where the paperwork is. You know what the passwords used to be. And you know the security questions because you helped him set them up on a Sunday afternoon eating cereal in his kitchen. You know which clients he overbilled. You know about the side consulting work he never declared. You know about the colleague he blamed for a lost account when it was actually his fault. And you know because you read the email chain he left open on a shared laptop and he didn't know you saw it. I knew everything. For the first 4 months after the wedding, I did nothing. I grieved. I went to work. I lost 8 pounds I didn't try to lose. I stared at the ceiling. But somewhere around month 5, I started writing things down. Not out of anger, out of clarity. The kind that only comes when the noise finally stops and you can hear yourself think. Looking back, I'd been unconsciously cataloging him for years, filing things away, little inconsistencies, explanations that were slightly too smooth. A financial report he asked me to just look over real quick that had numbers I didn't ask about because I trusted him. I stopped trusting him the night I drove to my own engagement party and found my sister in my place. And the files I'd been keeping in the back of my mind, I opened them. I want to be precise about what I did, because this is not a story about slashing tires or sending screenshots to his mother. This is a story about a certified letter to the Financial Regulatory Board. I documented everything I had observed over 4 years, the billing irregularities, the undeclared income, the misrepresented account loss, cross-referenced with dates, client names I could recall, and one email I had screenshotted 2 years earlier for reasons I couldn't explain at the time. I didn't fabricate anything. I didn't exaggerate. I just submitted what I knew, formally, with my name on it. And then I contacted the colleague he'd blamed, the one who'd taken the professional hit for Daniel's mistake. She'd left the firm. I found her on LinkedIn. I sent her a very short, very factual message, explaining what I had seen in that email chain. She called me within the hour. She had documentation of her own. I want to be honest about how I felt sending that letter. It wasn't triumphant. It wasn't even satisfying in the way I expected. My hands were steady. My chest was quiet. It felt like closing a tab I'd had open for too long. The investigation took 4 months. Daniel's firm placed him on administrative leave within the first 6 weeks. His client list evaporated. The colleague he'd blamed filed a civil suit that settled out of court. I don't know the terms, but I know it settled because she told me. Dana called me 7 months after I sent the letter. First time we'd spoken since the wedding. She said, "You know what you did." And I said, "I reported what I witnessed. Everything in that letter was true." She said, "He's devastated." And I said, "And I meant it. I know how that feels." She hung up. My mother called 3 days later. No anger, just this long, exhausted silence on the phone. And then, was it worth it? And I thought about that question for a real moment, not a dramatic one, a genuine one. I thought about the engagement party photo, the string lights I picked out myself, Dana in white, Daniel looking